Good afternoon. We call the meeting of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners to order. Commissioner Frazier will join us shortly. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
Yes, sir, it has.
Thank you so much, sir. Want to hear from Ministerial Alliance? Let us all stand and we'll have our prayer and our pledge of allegiance. Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to come together for the benefit of Liberty County, Georgia, a place that you have given us the honor to serve. We thank you for the progress that we made. We thank you for allowing us to see the progress that we will make. Bless these people who give it their time and talent. Bless our citizens, mankind everywhere. This we ask in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, proclamation, Rivers Alive, Dr. Karen Bell. You introduce it, and we'll have Mr. Brown read it, and we'll move on.
Good evening, everyone.
Ooh.
Rivers Alive is a Georgia state initiative, and it's created to make people aware of, basically, if we don't take care of the waterways is not going to take care of us. And here in Liberty County, we decided to do the main Rivers Alive on October the 28th, which falls on the fourth Saturday of the month of October, which is Make a Difference Day. So every fourth Saturday in October is Make a Difference Day. And we're asking that every city and the county come out on October the 28th at 9 o'clock and help clean up. Nope, if you just clean up the streets, you are making a difference, because anything that's on the ground and it flows into the storm drains, it will go into our waterways. So that's why it's so important that we all come together. We're asking that any commissioners or city electives come to a cleanup. We would like to let people know that we go from the top down and that we appreciate our electives coming out, and we will have a cleaning kit for you. And that cleaning kit have your container, your vest, your little reacher, gloves, everything you would need to do a cleanup and show that you love to keep Liberty County clean and beautiful. That's all I have.
Ma'am. Ready, sir?
Rivers Alive Cleanup is Georgia's annual volunteer waterway cleanup event that targets all waterways in the state, including streams, rivers, lakes, beaches, and wetlands. The mission of Rivers Alive is to create awareness of and involvement in the preservation of Georgia's water resources. Rivers Alive is held annually each fall and is a program of the Georgia Environmental Protection Division Outreach Program. Whereas the citizens of Liberty County recognize that all life is dependent upon clean water and strive to restore and maintain the chemical, physical, and biological integrity of Georgia's waters. And whereas watersheds, the critical component of the hydraulic water cycle, is an integral part of all the Earth's systems. And whereas Georgia has 70,150 miles of streams and rivers that nourish our native plants and wildlife. And whereas the mission of Rivers Alive is to create awareness of and involvement in the preservation of Georgia's water resources through this annual volunteer cleanup of the 14 river basins in Georgia. And whereas October 28, 2023 is the 51st anniversary of the Clean Water Act and the International Day of Worldwide Monitoring. And whereas the Liberty County Board of Commissioners recognizes its commitment to engage citizens, civic and government officials, and business leaders to restore and preserve our watersheds in Georgia. And whereas Keep Liberty Beautiful and Liberty County Board of Commissioners are committed to elevate the importance of volunteerism and motivate everyone in our community to become stewards of the environment. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Donald L. Lovett, Chairman of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 28, 2023 as Rivers Alive Awareness Day in Liberty County, so acknowledged on this day, October 19, 2023, and call this observance to the attention of our citizens.
So each of the cities are prepared to, with their cleanup teams,
Yes, sir, and each city that's participate will provide lunch for our citizens, and Keep Little Beautiful will provide all the supplies, and you get a Rivers Are Live T-shirt also for participating.
You have most of the cities participating?
Most of them, yes, and we have a sign-up that that would give us a number to where they will be at. So every city has a POC for that location, so we're excited.
Just ensure that we get a general reminder in between now and then. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you would come
Mr.
on.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the city of Hinesville has issued a challenge. I don't know if they have they got in touch with you, Mr. Brown?
I don't think they have.
They hadn't? Yeah. Well, but they now,
Is it a
and
gentlemanly challenge?
I'll say this, I'll turn my mic on. Hinesville brags that they win because they have the most participation. They brag about this, even in the Great American Cleanup in April. They brag about that and even get some kind of trophy. But it's because the Public Works Department, we have about 25 people. Now, as their supervisor, I could take that 25 and put them over here with the county if we need it. Just let me know. Okay, all right, okay.
So you trying to stop the bragging, sir?
But, well, you know, with that being said, I'm going to be on the winning team either way. We got to get them this year. We got to get them now. Tomorrow morning when I'm over there, I'm going to say we got to get them. But when I'm over here, we got to get them. I'm going to call Clinton. And we're going to get all them boys from the road department down there.
Right.
We're going to get them. We're going to get them.
Bring the trophy home, man.
Yeah, bring it home, bring it home.
It is great. Different cities do different things. Flemington is doing not your average cleanup. So they're doing like a nacho bar, and so a little play on words there. And so it's just fun, and hopefully a lot of citizens would come out and we get to do something good.
Right.
And clean up our area, have nice, and get fed, and get a free T-shirt.
Sounds like a plan. All right. You would come on then. Bishop, y'all will gather around. We'll have this photo up. Mr. Donahue hadn't made it yet. I see Curran is here.
Joe, he loves that camera. don't he?
Get everybody?
Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Keep our county clean and attractive. All righty. Thank you, Dr. Bell. Departmental reports, Finance, Mr. Matthew Richardson. Keep our numbers clean.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to report on the county's August 2023 financial statements. Starting with the general fund, as of the end of August, we have collected approximately 6% of our revenues and have spent approximately 14%. As you know, the revenues are down because we haven't yet billed for the property taxes, and these are our leanest months of the year. We currently have 4.9 months of operating expenditures in our unreserved fund balance. This is up slightly from the previous year. Last August, we reported 3.3 months. Looking at the departmental expenditures in the general fund, there are a few that are running slightly ahead of schedule. Some of these are still for the timing of vendor payments that are required to be paid at the beginning of the fiscal year. Some of these include our IT department, our building maintenance, general administration, which is our regional commission dues, Superior Court, public defender. The variance calculation, as you all are aware, is calculating the, as if each department spent their budget equally over the 12 months. This is certainly not the case for all of our departments. Such as the Judicial Administration Department is currently running a little ahead of schedule due for payments that were made to our court reporters. This, however, will be offset with some of our ARPA AOC revenues that we expect to receive. This department is not expected to exceed budget for the year. Animal Services had some vehicle repairs in August, which is kind of skewing their budget results for the month, but we do not expect this department to exceed the budget for the year. And as I mentioned last time, the Community Services Department had some expenses gearing up toward our employee wellness fair that is currently going on right now this week at the county. We do expect some grant funding to come in September to cover these expenses. All right, moving on to solid waste. The solid waste currently for the month of August has approximately $269,000 in net income. We've collected 12.6% of our budgeted revenues and have only spent 6.3% of our budgeted expenses. There are no departments for solid waste that are currently exceeding budget. And if we flip the page to the special revenue funds, this is almost the case for all of our special revenue funds, with the exception of records, which we've had some higher electricity bills for records due to the summer months, and but we do expect these to fall back in line now that we're into a more cooler time of the year.
I don't remember that happening before, though, Joey. I don't recall.
Not to this extent. We're doing a couple things too, is we're checking to make sure that the systems are functioning properly, that there's not an issue there, or with the power.
So we didn't have a
itself.
unit down or anything like that where it had?
We did have a couple of units that were having trouble, that underwent replacement. That with the problems we were seeing in the summer this time with humidity and a lot of things that happened, so, we're checking.
What kind of lighting system do we have, or lights do we have on there? Is it the new?
Internal or external? Parking lot?
Internal.
Internal. Some of them are new, some of them are old. The old section, we may look at trying to change those out, but those wouldn't be this much. That's, those would have been a recurring type thing that we'd have seen, because they don't burn that much anyway in those record sections. But we'll check into that too.
Okay, moving on to the sales tax reports. For sales tax 6, although we're not collecting this sales tax anymore, I've included the August report just to show where we are on the various projects that we still have in progress. Our revenue for sales tax 7 for August was over 1.1 million. This month's revenue exceeded our budget by 244,000. And since this sales tax 7 began, we have collected a total of 4.2 million. For T-SPLOS, for the month of August, we received 1,092,000. And since the inception of T-SPLOS, we have collected 31 million of our total 54 million. And for all of the sales tax and T-SPLOS obligation, I just ask that you all review and let me know if any corrections are needed. And Commissioner Jones, I will certainly make that adjustment that we talked about earlier. But I appreciate all of your feedback, and just let me know if I can do anything differently. And that's all I have for you this evening. Unless you have any questions.
Excuse me. Sale tax 7 started, what month did we? I'm trying to average it out.
April.
Has anybody already done that?
We started collecting it in May, but it began March 23.
In April.
April?
Yeah, April.
April
Third month, so
23.
that's 7,
So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Through August, it's 4 months, and I included a little bar graph just to show how it's been trending.
need to go
May, a little over $1 million. June, a little less than $1 million. July and August
Okay.
are trending upward.
what I was pondering, okay.
While you're doing that, Ms. Samantha, Mr. Brown, to animal control, they did not receive any new vehicles?
That's what I just mentioned, Ms. Moses. I didn't see that until today. We're gonna check and find out. Yes, sir, to answer your question, they did, but I'm not sure we've replaced the whole fleet yet. You know, we schedule rotating in and out, but that's what we're gonna check on tomorrow and see.
Samantha, be so kind, once again, says that to remind me what our cap is for sale tax 8. I know 54 was the old number
For the T-Splost?
for SPOS.
CAF
No
or
cap,
or
correct.
anticipated.
Antici-
It does, okay, that's, I think that's what threw us off a little.
60.
69.
million.
9
Okay.
million, yes. Hopefully, we do far better than that.
Okay.
I just remind my commissioners that, you know, with your T-SPOS funds, most of you have some flexibility, and I'll leave it at that. So you may want to review some projects to do. Yeah. Remember someone, I think Chairman McCoppy used to say, sometimes you can't do all the project, but you can do some of it. So I just remind, give a look at that. All righty, any other questions for Ms. Samantha?
No?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Samantha.
Thank you all.
All right, LCPC.
Chairman Lovett, members of the commission.
Oh, sir.
This afternoon, for your consideration, we have an amendment, a proposed amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance. And since this is an amendment to your zoning, it requires a public hearing. We have advertised that public hearing. So at some point, I would ask you to go into a public hearing to receive public input on
We'll
this.
pause for that now. Chair, entertain the motion.
So move.
Second.
Second, all in favor, show of hands, please. We're now in public hearing.
Okay, thank you. What I'm going to be presenting to you, it should be in front of you. It's got bold lettering on the top of it, all caps, an ordinance to amend the Liberty County Unified Development Ordinance. This ordinance has been to, as required, it's been to the Planning Commission. They've had a public hearing on it, and they've given some pretty thoughtful input to it. And it comes tonight to you with a recommendation of approval. I'm going to give you just a summary of what it includes. There's two main parts of this amendment. One is an omission that we had when we brought this to you. We brought it to you about 3 times during the spring, and y'all saw enough of me, and y'all were tired of seeing me. But anyway, at the last meeting, y'all asked me if there was some reason you needed to amend this. Could it be amended? Well, tonight we're here to prove to you that it can be amended. We're giving you the opportunity to do that. But the first thing I'd like to point out is that we omitted a section that's been in your ordinance for about 20 years, at least 20 years, concerning parking of trucks and trailers in residentially zoned areas. And I talked with the county staff, and they indicated that they'd like for you to consider putting that back in there. So that's part of this amendment. But there is a change. As part of the review that we had to do with the Planning Commission, we had a little subcommittee meeting with some planning commissioners and the county staff to discuss the wording of that. Traditionally, it said within any residential district, no commercial trucks, trailers, or wagons in excess of 1 ton. They had some discomfort with the use of 1 ton because maybe that's different from 20 years ago, but now a lot of people drive 1-ton trucks as their personal vehicles. So they felt like that provision of the ordinance needed to be brought into conformance with the current times. Like a 1-ton truck is a 350. A lot of people use that as their personal vehicle. That wouldn't necessarily be a commercial vehicle. So they wanted to change it to read commercial vehicles with a gross vehicle weight in excess of 10,000 pounds. And that would capture even the smallest tractor trailer, semi-tractor. So that was a change that they made to the original wording. All the rest of the wording in here is the same. They just replaced no vehicles in excess of 1 ton with no commercial vehicles in excess of 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. Now, this does not affect boats or RVs or motorhomes or anything like that. It's just commercial vehicles parked in residential areas. It also doesn't affect agricultural areas, and about 80% of the county is zoned agriculture. So you could park your truck in an agriculturally zoned area. It only applies to residential subdivisions and areas that are zoned residential, or PUDs that are zoned residential. So any questions about that one before I get into the second part of the ordinance? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Rickson, I'm glad to see that inserted in here. I guess one of my questions, who's going to enforce it?
That would be the Building and Licensing Department.
And take me through the steps.
Well, generally,
Someone is caught violating it.
right. Generally, a complaint comes into the Building and Licensing Office, and that's really kind of what prompted us to realize that we had omitted this. They had a complaint, and they needed to enact enforcement and take it to the magistrate court. And they talked to us, and we realized that it wasn't in the ordinance, so that's why we're bringing it back. So from time to time, the Building and Licensing Department does get a complaint that somebody's parking a dump truck or a tractor trailer in their residential driveway, and the only way to do that is to initiate enforcement. Most of the time, they send a letter, and the person will voluntarily comply, but if they don't, then the ordinance provides for you to be able to take it to the magistrate court and present your evidence to the judge, and then the judge would decide.
So will this follow the same guideline as blight areas where we get complaint on? Someone will have to complain several times, then somebody will go out. Now think about this, the average time when a truck is parked in a subdivision is probably 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's gone early the next morning. There's no one working from the code enforcement side. That truck is gone. How are we gonna look at that one?
I think that would be a decision that the department head, Mr. Zeckman, would have to make about whether to have somebody come out and do a night meeting. But, we all have to work it in the after hours sometimes.
Absolutely.
I'm proof of that right now. I'm working after hours in this meeting. So sometimes you just have to do that in order to do your job.
What we've accepted in the past is a time-stamped camera picture from someone who complains. And then they would actually interview that person to make sure that, it's I'll say as much reality's there, but they'd interview that person and take the timestamp photography, and then would go ahead and act on that to contact the property owner to make sure that they were
One
aware
time.
that was occurring, yeah.
Maybe I missed it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Will they get a warning or?
Generally, the first time, what he does, generally the first time is they will make contact with the property owner, not issue a warning. Second time, they'll issue an official letter. Third time would be the time that they would enact enforcement action, generally.
Well, let me ask a question there, Jeff. You mentioned, planning and code enforcement. So that would be code enforcement for
County.
Hinesville?
Or Liberty County. This Hinesville treats trucks and commercial trucks and trailers in a different part of their ordinance. And so that's under George Smith and his group. But this is just in Liberty County, and y'all have traditionally treated that as part of your zoning ordinance. And this provision has been in the zoning ordinance for over 20 years.
You had a lot of complaints about this?
Not
Is
re-
that the
that-
reason why we're updating it, or?
That's not really our area. The Building and Licensing Department has, from time to time, had to enforce this. And when they get complaints, they have to go through the process of, warning people, and if they don't heed the warning, then you do a complaint with the magistrate's office, and the person gets served, and they have to come into magistrate court.
That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm saying Paul Zeckman's office, excuse me, his group down there have been getting a lot of complaints about this?
I can't say how many, but
I heard of it.
He
I can't
said-
say how many they've gotten, but that they have relied on this part of the ordinance when they do get complaints to bring about enforcement. Without this in the ordinance, there's not really anything you can do when you get complaints about commercial vehicles in residential zones.
You know, I'm trying to search back on the memory banks, and we can look back in the old code and see, but I remember many years ago, the commission was approached about problems with commercial vehicles parking in residential areas on the side of the roads and in driveways, transfer trucks and things like that. And so the commission adopted an ordinance then that prohibited that and had certain weight requirements in it. When they adopted the uniform code, or when we did back in May, this was left out, not on purpose, and so we're just trying to put it back in.
Well, that's what I'm
If
asking.
you
Have we had-
still want to, right?
Have we had a lot of calls? Is that one reason why we're doing it? Because,
No,
I mean, we're just creating another ordinance and we're creating something else for building inspections. And that's what I'm saying. We got building inspections and that's what it's for. Jeff's is planning and zoning. It looks to me like that's not something Curtis could look after. I mean,
Now, the Unified Development Ordinance gives the responsibility for the building official. I mean, the LCPC can help out, but the building official is the one who's designated as the enforcement person.
well, I mean, Paul's knows about this and he's aware that that's gonna be another thing for him to do then. That's what I'm asking. I mean, we
he knows that.
load the wagon up.
I know, and what I'll go back and do is talk to him to see how many questions he's had that this hadn't been in there recently, because I really don't know, you know.
Well, and that's the thing that Commissioner Stevens has brought it up too. You got somebody that pulls in this afternoon with a load of logs to leave in the morning to get to the mill. It's sitting there, he's gonna be gone, and that's gonna require, okay, there's gonna be a phone call made, and either Tony or Paul's gonna have to respond. Now, if it's gonna be if there's that much going on, then we need to have already addressed it. But that's the first I've heard of it.
I've had, down on that end of the county, eastern side of the county, it is an issue. And quite a few of the
I've seen it too,
subdivisions, even off the subdivision off of, Charlie Butler Road, down there off of Camp Viking Road, off of Kings Road, trucks parking in there where the contractor has gone in and put in sidewalks. These trucks have parked on the sidewalk, tore it up, and nothing to it.
I've got a question, Jeff. Mr. Chairman. Jeff, when it says within any residential district, now, and Commissioner Stevens took the words out of my mouth when he said like a subdivision. I know that's all residential, but a residential district, could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
That would be the single-family residential zones, R8, R12, and R20. The multifamily districts, which would be apartments, and PUD, any residential PUD that you have out there.
But you could have like mixed zoning. I mean, I could live in a house right next to a gas station, which is commercial. And if I lived in a house next to a gas station, which is commercial, would I be, it'd be how my house is zoned?
How your house is zoned, that's right.
So that would be considered where I live, just that one house in between all these businesses, I would be considered a residential district.
There are some random residential zones out there, some R8s and some R20s that are not part of a subdivision, but they're zoned that. So this would apply to those.
And another question, I mean, I know Hinesville is, they got everything. They got code enforcement, they got police, they got everything. And in this ordinance, when it's put in place, it'd just be for the unincorporated area of the county and the smaller municipalities that depend on the county for their enforcement.
Right, and thus far, I've taken this to all the smaller municipalities, and everybody but Midway has adopted it, and Midway is my next stop.
Okay. Midway, Riceboro, all, Walter.
Westboro's already adopted it.
Everybody,
Allenhurst,
okay.
Gum Branch, everybody is.
So just everybody but Hinesville,
That's right.
as you said, they got their own ordinances for handling this. Okay.
This has been a problem in Walthamville too. I've seen it and I've referred them to the mayor's office. They asked me about it. I said, it's not, you know, so I referred to the mayor's office. I know we do the code enforcement, but I have referred them back to, people are parking 18-wheelers wherever they can park them. And the local people, sometimes it's the neighbor who don't want to get involved, you know how that is, you know. But they, but they'll mention it to me, you know, about it. So I had to turn it over to,
I
say,
have,
the proper authorities.
I have is a school bus. Does this school bus fit over that 10,000 pounds?
But
It would? So the person that drives a school bus and live in a house, he'd need to,
residential zone would not be, this
would
would
have to
apply to
probably
that.
take it down to the bus barn.
And one more thing, you've already discussed this with Paul, he knows it's coming.
I have not. I need
Well,
to. That's what I said. I
and
want
all
to
this
talk.
is for information tonight, I don't think we ought to be.
I'll talk to Paul.
It was actually Paul's office that reached out to us and said, hey, what'd you do with our ordinance? You left this out. We
Yeah,
need
we had it
this in order
before,
to
we
deal
just
with
left
this
it out.
complaint."
We just putting it back.
He knows it will be coming.
I didn't know that Jeff
I
had
think
talked
he's,
to him.
I think he's expecting this to be put back in there. We told him that we'd work to get it back in there.
Yeah. It's to help him,
Yes.
help us.
Otherwise, they just have to tell the complainants that they don't have
Have
anything.
nothing to.
They can't help them.
Yeah, yeah.
Just one other clarification on the enforcement side. So Paul's office will not get involved with this if the city has a
Right.
municipal
Certainly.
court.
Okay.
So it would be the city of Hinesville, it'd be Midway, and it would be
Walterville.
Walterville. We would not apply this there because those will be city
Right,
court
handled under the
citations.
cities, yeah.
Right.
This is basically,
Because in places like that.
this is basically
Oh,
unincorporated.
correct.
Okay.
I just know that we built 300 and something homes that's in the county that he's had to inspect, and I don't want to, we'll wind up having to get another employee to enforce it, or, like you said, there's gonna be people that's gonna have to enforce it during the middle of the night, if they leave before daylight.
Okay, you want me to go to the next part? There's two parts. That's the one part. The other
All
part
right.
is fire codes. And that, during the time that we were adopting this back in the spring, Georgia, the state of Georgia was in the process of updating their fire codes. And those fire codes relate to the subdivision provisions in the ordinance. And they're already in effect for the state. They're not optional, but we felt like it was important to get those into the Unified Development Ordinance so it'd be consistent with what the state requirements are. And I'll just kind of give you a summary of what they include. Again, they're already in effect for the whole state, but what they include are cul-de-sacs are going to have to be built bigger than they previously were. They had to be about 20% bigger to accommodate bigger fire apparatus to be able to turn around. So that's not optional, but it's in this ordinance to make our ordinance comply with the state. In addition to that, your current subdivision standards require roadways to be 22 feet wide, but in the area of a fire hydrant, they have to bump out to 24 feet wide. And that's again to accommodate one fire apparatus be able to pass another fire apparatus. So that's something that's been added to this. In addition to that, for subdivisions that have more than 120 lots in them, you'll now be required to have two entrances. In the past, it wasn't required, but now that's going to be required. It's not optional.
Yeah.
And the final main thing is that any new subdivision has to be approved by the fire chief or his designee or his or her designee in the county. So there will be fire review of all new subdivisions and also all new traffic calming. Like if you have speed humps or somewhere, the fire chief has to approve that before that gets installed. So all of that would be incorporated into this ordinance as well. So there's two main parts of the ordinance. Those fire things I just mentioned to you, which are now part of the state fire code, and this truck provision that we're trying to put back in there that you had in there for the last 20 years.
And once again, this applies to unincorporated Liberty County for us.
For you,
For
but
us,
but
right.
again, I've taken this to the
I
other smaller
understand, I
cities.
just want to
and
make
they've
sure everybody
adopted
understands
it
this
too.
is,
Right.
right, they're going to handle their part, we handle it.
That's right.
Yeah.
The distance of the hydrant changed?
The distance of the hydrants, Marty, I think they have to be located no more than 500 feet apart. Is that the same as they were before?
It was 700.
Five hundred.
500, is that right?
That's state.
There's in
State requirement.
507.5, it's got something about hydrant systems.
How many, I mean, just up your head, Jeff, 500 feet, how many single-family homes can you put on the right-hand side of the road in that 500 feet?
Depends on which zone you're in. If you got 80 feet of frontage, you could probably get about maybe 9 or 10 homes on that side of the street before you need another fire hydrant.
Yeah, what about commercial?
Same, I mean, it's 500 feet.
I'm talking
regardless of-
about the inspection of it.
The inspection would be the building and licensing department again. I mean, the fire department would also have a role, because you've got, I think you now have a fire marshal for the county as well.
We don't. We're in the process of doing that.
I think that would fall to the chief until you do get a fire marshal then, but the fire department is responsible for enforcing the state fire codes.
Everybody else is grandfathered in. This
Yeah,
only
yeah,
applies.
if you're
in-
here now, there's no requirement in here to go back and retrofit roads, but all new development would have to follow.
I like that, the other two entrances. Yeah, I like that, because that's progress.
And that part of it is coming down from the state fire
That's right.
commission. Okay.
We're just trying to make our ordinance conform to what the state law already says.
Do we really have a choice?
And we don't. It's already in effect, but there's no need to have
Should not
conflicting
be a
ordinances.
choice,
I
should be a
understand, you're
mandate.
right. Right, make it all synonymous, you're right.
The state's gonna send us money down to fund all this thing.
Probably not.
All righty.
Chairman, this has been advertised as a public hearing.
Is there anyone that would like to speak to these new amendments to the ordinance? None? All right. Thank you.
Satisfy the requirements, sir.
Do I need to come out to vote, Mr. Brown?
You do. That'd be the best.
Entertain a motion to come out of public session?
So move.
Back in the regular session. Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, show your hands, please. Now back into our regular meeting session. Now, Mr. Rickerson needs a vote on these amendments to the ordinances. I think we've had ample discussion, so Chair, entertain a motion.
Yeah, I
So
make a
moved, Mr.
motion
Chairman.
that we adopt the amendments to the unified resolution
And I'll, Commissioner Gill,
ordinance.
we'll take your motion as a second. That's all right with you, sir?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. That's all right. Any further discussion? All in favor, show your hands, please.
Thank you, sir.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, let's make a note, though. I do think when we talk about items that have to go over to magistrate, I know they have new leadership.
Well, it'll be, yes, sir.
Let's sit down and have a conversation with them about some of our concerns about the enforcement side of that. Because we, you know, what we learn sometimes is that they do, how do I say this? They only do what they are authorized to do. Sometimes we think that maybe they should be authorized to do more, but sometimes when you dig into it, it's not that way. So let's at least have that conversation with new leadership.
Make sure you got our fellow that's gonna enforce it over there, too.
Yes, sir.
He may be able to answer.
We'll do. That's a good idea. Good suggestion. Thanks. All right, final plat, Digester Commerce Park. Ms. Sanchez, you doing that?
Excuse me, yes, I am. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm here to present the final plat for the relocation of the Dorchester Village Road and the Dorchester Commerce Park Phase 1 subdivision. The property owners are Laurel View Properties and Dorchester Commerce Park LLCs. The engineer is Kern and Company. And this is not only, as I mentioned, the title indicates the relocation of the road, but is also the creation of 6 industrial lots off Islands Highway in District 1. We're all familiar with the area here. The part that's in blue is the city of Midway. We'll be going to them later with this for their part of it. But this is the existing Dorchester Road, and this is where the new one is being constructed right now. This is the final plat. Just to note that when it does, what gets signed and recorded will not have this red preliminary stamp on it. So here we have, as I mentioned before, the existing right-of-way of Dorchester Road. This portion, Village Road. This portion here is being abandoned, and right-of-way is being given up for a 100-foot right-of-way for the new road, which is under construction. It does include at the bottom here a truck turnaround area, so that any vehicle coming off of these industrial lots that happens to take a wrong turn, they can turn around there instead of having to go through the rural portion of the existing Dorchester Village Road. The 6 lots that are being created, there's one up in this corner that's entirely in the city of Midway. We have another lot down here, one here, 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 and then this one back here. This one back here, Lot 3, does have a 100-foot wide frontage on Dorchester Village Road. And this portion right here is also a utility and easement access for the adjacent lots. What else is to note on the plat? I think that's about it. This is just kind of a picture that shows the portion that's being abandoned on the existing road. And then this is the acreage. They broke it off in these different colors to show how much acreage is being dedicated from each of the existing property owners. So this is an existing property line. And so it's about 2 acres of the pink and about 5 acres or so of the blue from the existing property owners are being dedicated to the road and the county. So as I mentioned, the dedications to the county do include the Dorchester Village Road with the 100-foot right-of-way and that truck turnaround. There's going to be additional right-of-way along Islands Highway to make sure that the widening in that Islands Highway Improvement Project has enough room. And then there are stormwater improvements and associated easements along the road that are being dedicated to the county as well. The water and sewer improvements and those associated easements are being dedicated to the Liberty County Development Authority. And then for these improvements, they do require the usual bonds. We have for the primary improvements, which includes the paving, striping, and signage, and then the drainage isn't quite complete. So we've lumped that in with a primary improvement bond of $282,600. And then for the 2-year, the maintenance guarantee for all the improvements for the road, construction of the road itself will be required in the amount of $439,000. This was before the Planning Commission last month, and they do recommend approval with standard conditions for this final plat.
Yeah.
Sir.
Go back to where you showed the roads.
The colored ones or the plat?
Right there.
Oh, yep.
Where's that turnaround point at?
This one doesn't have it. This was done as a preliminary, this was just illustrative, just kind of give you the general acreage. This is the actual plat that will be recorded that does show the turnaround here.
Because right now, that section of the old Dorchester Road, it's impassable. It's a mess. And I mentioned to Mr. Long the other day about utilizing, why can't this construction outfit utilize their construction road for the oversized, I call it dump trucks that's hauling dirt? And they said that section of that road is not completed neither. So now you have the construction site that's not completed, the new Dorchester Road is not completed, and the old Dorchester Road is a mess. So we got a problem.
So you
Yeah.
said, saying the road is
Impassable.
I talked with Trent this morning, and he indicated that you were on him about that, and he's assured me that problem will get resolved.
They said that last week. I tried to go down it Sunday and almost got stuck. So, but if you got a 4-wheel drive, yeah, you can go down it.
I think their plan is to try to get everything down, including the binder course, by the end of the month. So they've got an aggressive schedule. I can't attest that they'll meet that, but that's what they're trying to get to.
But during the same time, that's why some of these citizens down there was complaining before. Now is inconvenient for them, but it's satisfactory to the contractors. So we need to be aware of that the next time we look at anything.
So it's impassable if they go, the entrance closest to 95 is impassable, that entrance?
Right.
As well as the?
Yes, and I do have videos of it,
Chairman.
but like I said, they can go out, go all the way around and come back out Briola and come back out to Miles Highway.
Commissioner Stevens, is the abandoned road, Joey, is it still, ours?
It is right now.
Right now?
So, Clinton couldn't do, he doesn't, I guess we quit grading it once all this came up, so that's probably why it's in the shape that it's in.
He's actually out, been helping some, but we put the responsibility on the contractor to maintain it.
Okay. But it is still a county
Still
road?
a county road.
Still a county
And this would not change that.
Okay.
We will not accept that road until it's fully complete.
I guess what Commissioner Stevens saying, I guess the people that try to get home, they, having a hard time.
Can't allow that to happen where they can't get home. That's a definite no-no. Even Joey, if, and maybe a legal thing, even if we have to do what we do and bill them for the improvements, we can't.
And we've actually, there's been some conversation with them that if they don't maintain it in a better fashion, that we'll just stop work. They'll stop work out there for a while.
Okay. Okay.
But it's not a issue that if it's still ours and that there's an agreement that they would maintain it during this construction? I mean, because if it's still ours, it seems like we would be responsible, whatever intervals that Clinton always maintained it. If we'd have kept that schedule.
Well, you remember the agreement that came before you about this whole process, it was embedded in there. It's actually in the developer agreement that they, as part of this process, as part of leaving that road open while they do construction, their agreement or our agreement with them was that they maintain it.
Okay.
I can talk to Kelly and see if there's anything legally, I don't know that it's illegal if we assist them, and try to build back if that becomes necessary. I mean, that probably could be done if they failed to do it.
But Jeff said that they got an aggressive schedule, so maybe, don't mean by noon tomorrow, nothing like that, not that aggressive.
Mr. Chairman, I did have one question on the dedication of the road, the 100 foot. Are we going to take that one too? Would that be a county? On
Yes,
that?
yes.
Okay, so we're going to take the new road and the 100 foot
Right.
and the turnaround down?
That'll be a paved
It will
road.
be, yeah, it'll be all paved.
Paved.
But, that was some of the citizens' concern when they were
Right.
up here is how, their homes are back there past that and trying to get back in there. So we definitely need to do something.
Have a responsibility to make sure that they.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I have to give them credit already. I know people personally, if they hadn't called me, so I applaud them if they hadn't called me. But certainly, you know better, you do better. Now that I know the road's impassable, that's unacceptable for. So what do we have to do to enforce that? I hope Trent.
What kind of dialogue have we had with the developer?
County is handling the construction, so most of the dialogue has been between Trent and Paul Zeckman and the construction people.
That's Trent's man back there. Yes, sir. What we got going on back there?
What I have is Andy Mock, one of our inspectors. He's
Come on up to the mic, Andy.
Today, he goes out there to drive the road, and he's been working with Paul Zeckman to, if they don't maintain that road, and when we have these issues showing up, if they don't maintain that road, that Paul was gonna put a stop work order on it. To get that road, stop everything else, get the road fixed.
It's supposed to rain this week, ain't it?
Supposed to rain tomorrow night.
You reckon we can get Clint to grade it? And get it, I mean, that road that's ours.
Yeah.
Well,
Let-
yeah, he's doing what's ours, but that portion that's in bad shape is ours, but under agreement, theirs to maintain.
I hear you.
So, yeah, let's go look at it more.
Yeah, I just don't want the citizens to be caught in the crossfire of.
No, right.
And
that's
it's
exactly
probably,
right. No, we won't let that happen.
Mr. Chairman, how about your development authority person and Paul and Trent, and let's see if we can't get it squared away. If it can't, then I mean, there's not but one thing to do, and that's try to, I mean, shut him down, and we'll open him back up whenever it gets ready to open him up. Well, whenever we're ready.
Looks like that's where we're headed if things don't change
Yeah.
very quickly.
Like in tomorrow by lunch.
But I can imagine, though, since all this been going on, that, I mean, it'd take more than Trent sending a motor grader down there in the morning for a couple of hours because of neglect and the time with all the rain and everything else that we had. If the contractor hadn't been doing anything with it, and because of the agreement, and Clinton hadn't been down there, we talking about, what, 6 months of
You may
nothing?
want to comment, because you've been on the ground quicker than I have, but
Come on-
the
come on to the-
contractor has been there working on
He-
it.
he-
Oh, yeah,
he
there's
has
been a lot
done,
of
he has done
conversations.
some
He's back
things,
in there.
but
Yeah,
it-
yes, sir.
it's,
Yes,
but
sir.
it's just not what the.
There's so
what-
much,
No,
there's
it's
so
not.
much traffic going in and out of there with 3 different contractors doing work on 3 different areas of
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Because they got a batch concrete plant running down there too, that they're bringing sand to for the batch concrete. It's not really related to filling of the roads. I mean,
Just a-
yeah, there's
Just a whole lot of
there's
construction
a lot of heavy
activity there.
traffic.
Yeah.
Let me say this, to send our motor grader down there would be probably a waste of time, because you can send that motor grader down there 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 9 o'clock, it's got ruts in it. Again, just
Well, I
like,
was thinking, Commissioner Stevens, from where the church is, the road back, if that part right there is graded, people could go out the paved road, couldn't they? Instead of going through that?
yeah,
I mean, that right there, there's not but, what, 2 residents on there. I
Yeah,
think Ricky and his son live there, maybe
Oh.
John.
no, you got the Quarterman's house down there, and you got some more
Harris's.
houses
Well,
down there.
And Mr. Harris,
And you
but I
got some
mean-
closer back toward 95 side.
they'll have to drive through the mud.
Mr. Brown, y'all just follow up on this to make sure that,
Please
those
keep me in
people
the
are-
loop, because my phone is ringing.
that's not fair for them to be. Yeah. We want to support development, and we do, but we got to make sure
Yes,
we
sir.
take care of the people.
Yeah, and we've been working on that, where my other inspectors out there daily driving those roads. And they've had a tractor blading the road constantly. They had a problem with the tractor breaking down, and then it became a big snowball. It just started going south on them, and then they're back on it. And we've been dealing with Paul Zeckman to, if they don't maintain the road, that stop them here to start there.
Make sure we do that. All right, all right. All right, Commissioner Stevens, final plat. That's what we.
So they want the approval on this.
Yeah, the road issue is separate from the final plat now. Yeah.
Can I go ahead and make the motion that we accept the final plat?
Second.
Second, that we accept the final plat presentations presented by Ms. Marty. Thank you. I think we had ample discussion. Anything else? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. All right. Let's just keep a close eye on that road. Have to stop it, let's stop it. There you are. You ready?
Evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Keith Cosway. I'm with TR Long Engineering. I'm here to give you the monthly status update on the projects within Liberty County. You were provided with the status report, and I'm going to go ahead and go over them. If you have any questions on any of these, go ahead and ask. First one's going to be the water system improvements on Lewis Fraser Road. The contractor's about 85% completed with the water main. He is currently working on pushing the laterals across to service the residents on the opposite sides of the road currently. That's in the status he's working on. He's moving along daily, restoring and grassing the roadway. Haven't had any problems out there right now. Any questions on that?
Yeah, no, not on out there. They're doing a good job.
Okay, the next active project that we have going on currently is the Miller Park Fire Station. The fire station, the site contractor currently is having issues with stabilization of the subsurface along the Highway 84, working on the decel lane. So we're going through that right now, coming up with a way to fix the problem there, because when they built 84 years ago, they made sure 84 was great. You get 2 feet off that roadway and it's straight swamp bottom. So we're working with the contractor now to get that rectified and get the decel lane continued. Wells Cemetery Road, we're waiting on property owners. We're working to get the required right-of-way to do Wells Cemetery Road. The letters have been sent out along with the deeds and everything to work with the property owners.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
is there any more update on the Olives Highway, box cover?
On the box culvert repair, currently we're dealing with Whitaker Labs. We've got to do some soil bores out there to find out the base underneath the canal there, to make sure we've got a good sub-base underneath there. I talked to the soils engineer today. They're hopefully going to be out there next week to get us the reports, to start working to get us towards the reports on those.
One other question on that one. Is these boxes gonna be prefab, or are they gonna be poured on site?
It'll be dependent on the contract. The contractor will have an option either to come in with prefab, which would be a faster method, or cast in place. It'll be based on pricing. Okay, Bill Carter Road is substantially complete right now. The contractor has finished up with the paving operations. Currently, we're waiting for the grass to start growing, so that way we can get a good stand of grass out there. There is a few other deficiencies out there. There's some striping that somehow the contractor missed on the end of the roadway. And then there is a bump in the transition coming back towards 84 that the contractor has to repair. Otherwise, Bill Carter Road is just about done. The tree's gone. And
Trees gone?
It's gone.
the tree's gone.
They did it so fast, I went to the house and come back, it was gone.
So that's been taken care of there. Limerick Road, the overlay and repair with Sykes Brothers, they started, they put their signage up for construction, and they're doing their layouts, and they're getting with their surveyors to start laying it out so that they can start construction in the next couple of weeks.
Any update on the, side what you got right here on the Peacock Canal Bridge? Just what you got right here?
Just what I have right there.
All right.
Those are pretty much, Davis and Solette, same deal in District 5. The contractor has finished there. We're working again with, for the grass established, being out there. And they did have to do a couple of repairs because a piece of their equipment broke, spilled a lot of petroleum products on the asphalt. They had to clean it up and fix that.
I rode out there today. It looks good, though. It's
Much
good.
improved,
Yeah.
much
Big-
improved.
A big improvement down that roadway.
So, I mean, it's not complete? You said it was some,
Right, basically they, part of the contract is shoulder restoration.
Okay.
So they came through and they put the dirt on there to back up the asphalt, and then they grass it, and we don't pay them out until we have a establishment of grass and make sure
Okay.
the shoulders are
This is a
established.
special kind of
And
grass that's gonna grow this time of year?
You'll get different types of
The
ryegrasses
ryegrass
this
will
time of the year. They should have also seeded it with Bermuda, but we won't see the Bermuda until the spring.
I'll say this for the matter of record again, I hope I never see that level of paving in Liberty County again that was done on that road.
Excuse me, sir?
Hope I never see that level of paving again that was done on that road in Liberty County again. It was done poorly from the beginning.
Oh, you're talking about on those
Yes,
roadways
sir.
previously?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
The last two items on there will be voted on next month for you, and the documents are attached for y'all to review. Any other questions on any of the projects in Liberty County?
well, I guess, Joey, on the Claudia Lane water system, I talked with Trent. I think I copied you on the email that whenever he contacts EPD to see what the status is, that, that he would, if it's an email, that he would CC me and you on it, and I hadn't seen anything. What would we be actually waiting on from EPD for that.
Just their review of the plans and okay. And I think from the email he swapped back with us, they were just backed up and we were in line for
Right.
review, but EPD just hadn't got to the plans yet.
I mean, it's, Claudia didn't, because we didn't have the easement, that's why they wasn't included in the other part of Homestown.
Right.
I mean, so we finally got that worked out, and we found the funding. And, so EPD, whenever it comes up, I guess we down the
Because-
line a little bit, waiting on
Well,
them
we
to
never,
get
I
to
mean,
it.
yes, sir, that never was part of the system improvement plan that was sent to EPD when it was reviewed, so he's had to make a submittal, basically, to EPD.
And when you say review the plan, other than just running a line from Westfield down past the canal or
Be
to the
simple.
canal? Okay.
And we won't be doing that, will we?
We'll have to.
Is that doing it?
Yeah.
Will it be Woodrow doing it? We'd have to pay.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
If he was gonna run a service in there, looked to me like, that would be pretty simple.
I mean, it looks
Why
simple.
would the EPD need to be?
Yeah, and it's part of the requirements of extending for that many customers, I believe. Just like they're having to do Lewis Fraser, which
Right.
obviously is larger.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, we just need to follow up on it.
I will.
Oh, okay.
Joey, I just got a question on that. When we first went through with the water system, we had a reduced rate of hookup. Then we went to another stage, and went to another stage. And now we at, what is it, 1375 or 1475 to?
Whatever,
Now, so
yeah.
what will the Claudia Lane play, the $50?
They'll pay whatever our rate is right now. I'm not sure what that rate is. It's actually what the cost is of doing the installation by Woody Sap.
I think it's 1475 or 1375.
And the reason it was a lower rate in the beginning is we had a block grant
Right.
that helped out. We don't have block grant.
Any questions for Mr. Causeway?
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trent, we treated you nicely.
I'm gonna tell Trent you did a good job. You're a regular.
Resolution of government contract with PFA.
It is, and Mr. Trey Monroe from Stiefel and Associates is gonna come, I believe, and present that to you, and I can do any part Trey wants me to do. This is the bond resolution. You actually approved for the chairman to execute all the necessary documents for this, but these are the bonds for the public workshop. The residual portion is not being paid by SPLOST 6, and so we met with the Facilities Authority today, and they basically approved the contract that you requested with them, and so he's got the closing documents and closing numbers for you.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. Happy to see you all again. So as Joey mentioned, we actually brought this to you back in August. Sort of fast forward to now, we've got final numbers on everything. We sent the financing package out to 6 or 7 different financial institutions and got, I believe, five bids back. They ranged from 4.81% all the way up to 6.52%. So that's, quite a wide dispersion. The PFA rightly elected to go with the lowest rate option of 4.81%. Gives the county the ability to refinance this beginning in 2028, so before you get to the sunset of SPLOST 7. The numbers comply with what was set forth in SPLOST 7 in terms of how much the county would allocate to this project from SPLOST 7. So all the math matches. The resolution you have tonight simply ratifies what the Public Facilities Authority approved earlier today, and again confirms what y'all elected to do back in August.
If I may ask, what was their discussion? What was their discussion, the public facilities, what was their conversation about the?
Well,
proposal?
my partner David was here for that meeting
he?
today. I was
Yeah,
not
y'all-
there,
y'all-
but I don't. I think it was a unanimous acceptance of
Was it?
the proposal.
Okay.
We had the full authority there, and to answer your question, they were very excited to be able to do it for the commission, and noted the other projects that they've been able to do for the commission, City of Midway and City of Hinesville. And we did make them aware that probably the health department would be coming to them in early '24, but
Did any local banks participate?
We did have some local participation. Their rate was not as low as it needed to be. But your local banks will hold the funds from the bond and be able to manage those monies for the county. So,
All right. What kind of puts them out of the market?
he can help me with this, but under some FDIC requirements and there's some regulatory requirements, certain banks, especially if they're small, they have to insure the public funds, and they run into the inability to manage too many public funds or to have a portfolio that shows that. I don't know that that was the case with any of these, but if you're also a smaller bank, you're not able to leverage other securities, or handle other public debt instruments and keep a lower interest rate. Your interest rate's generally going to be higher. So, did I miss too bad?
No,
You're
that's,
more in that market.
yeah, there's, so it also gets to, every financial institution has a cost to borrow money because they're not taking this money from their reserves and lending it out to the county. They're gonna go borrow that money from the Federal Home Loan Bank or the Federal Reserve. They're gonna borrow the money from somewhere in order to lend it to a borrower. And so the cost for, lots of times the cost for, smaller community or regional banks is just more expensive to get that money than it is for some of the bigger ones. So, in that regard, their offers or their interest rate for their loans is higher than what you may find elsewhere.
At least they get to participate by housing our.
It will house the funds for you.
Keep the dollars, okay.
And it is JP Morgan Chase. that
Yeah,
was the-
it's huge, yeah. So, Fortune 500.
This is, well, you built sales tax 7 proceeds to help pay some of it back. The total borrow for this is a little over $6 million, $6,024,000. A portion of that will get paid back through sales tax 7, and then there will be a residual that you probably will finance at a lower
Sales tax
interest
8.
rate that will be in sales tax 8.
And that's for our
Public Works.
New Public Works facility.
there's no concept plan on the health department.
That's actually coming to you November, your November meeting.
I hate for the rates to go up between now and then.
One of the offsets for them may be the fact that they have some money set aside.
That's true.
To help with the project. Yeah.
They do. And this one did too, if you remember. Sales tax 6 contributed some here.
We did that, thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see, yep, we just need our approval to move forward. What's that rate again, 4.81?
4.81, yes,
I
sir.
thought it was 4.7.
I wish.
Just went down there.
I tried.
Entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
And secondly, we approve the resolution as presented. We had the 4.81%, knowing that our local institution, a local institution, will get the opportunity to. Is it a local, or could it be more than one?
It is. You'll have a custodian of the funds that's local, and then we actually will take the money, draw it down, go ahead and draw it down, and put it in an investment account so it can earn interest.
Good
So
money.
they'll help with that transaction process to move it to construction fund.
Good, good. All in favor, show of hands, please. All right, motion passes. Thank
Very
you,
much.
sir. Good
to
shopping.
see you again.
Good shopping. Mr. Mosley, you coming forward? Contract at Ross and Associates.
Chair, members of the commission, at your your mid-month meeting in September, you requested us to move forward with moving forward the impact fee, and we reached out to Ross and Associates. The proposal before you is for $94,500 to provide the impact fee. You'll notice in the scope of services, he talks about some of the things that he will do. For instance, assistance with deployment of Impact Fee Advisory Committee, the preparation of population housing employment forecast, the methodology report, the capital improvements elements of regional and state review, and the preparation of the impact fee ordinance in conformance to current state laws. He proposes this to be done over a 12-month period, and funds for this projects were allocated in the 24 budget. As you can see, there's some pretty good data for some of the projects that we work on. He'll be able to provide us some data that we'll be able to use in some other projects that we'll be working on. And Commissioner Thrift was concerned about making sure he comes. If you'll look on the first page, in terms of the scheduled key events, he's scheduled to appear before this body on several events to provide you updates on the project.
Pretty well. They will actually come to us almost at every meeting, just about.
If you turn to the next page where it talks about the services, these are some of the services we'll be looking at. I apologize for not doing that earlier, but it'll look at the bottom where it says examples of new amendment impact fee programs. If you look at the very bottom, Liberty County, these are the programs we'll be looking at in terms of mention the population employment forecast, but animal control, fire, emergency medical, jail, sheriff and police, parks and recreation, roads. Those are the areas we'll be looking at in this proposal. No, sir. But he was the consultant that did the report for the city of Flemington.
Flemington.
Well, I first heard that name through Flemington. This is the staff recommendation. Been vetted. Our friends in Flemington have used them. This process certainly has helped them, so we look forward to it helping us. We need additional streams of income where everybody shares. So I know Savannah.
Yes, sir, he just completed Savannah.
It's completed, yeah. I saw the news. So I think we're on the right track, Commissioner, sir.
I do too, Mr. Chairman, as long as we can get these results when we ask for them. I know this is a pretty good sized contract, and whenever you ask for something, they'll say, well, I'll get it for you in 30 days. I hope this is updated on a regular basis. The chairman will know about it, or whoever else is in here involved, Mr. Brown, but you're talking about things like population. Well, that's one thing, and then the other one is how many home sales and things like that. That's pretty easy to figure out without having a consultant, but or an associate, whatever you want to call it. But we're spending a lot of money, and I just hope that you and Joey's keeping up with it. I don't want us to just go out there because it's something easy to do to pick the phone up and call them. We can do it in-house, let's do it in-house. But we can't, let's make sure we're in the right century and do it the right way.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying, let's stay on top of it.
Sure, we will.
What was the price on this?
It was $94,500.
Budgeted, okay. All right.
Chairman, I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with Roston Associates.
Second.
Motion is second. We approve the contract proposed with Ralston Associates for impact fees. And once again, I think it's moving in the right direction, bringing some income to help us offset some of our expenses. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I got one quick. If we don't feel, and I hadn't read the whole thing, it's probably in here or not. If we don't feel happy with them, can we back out the contract with a reason?
You would need to pay them for work done to that point, but yes, sir, you could. I think keep in mind too that the law really requires you to use a third-party source to do that, that kind of work. So we'll contribute, we're gonna be helping with some statistical information, because I wanna make sure that's right in what they're using. But you need a third party that's not associated with the government that's gonna levy the impact fees to actually do the study.
Both of them. That's
To keep the arm's length.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna involve private folks in this
Part of the
too.
policing.
And yes, there's a policing type
Policing.
power. But you could, you definitely, if you're not happy, you could discontinue this one and then start that process again.
Okay. All in favor, show of hands, please. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Mosley. Midcoast Standby Engineering Services.
Chairman, y'all probably remember that every 5 years, GDOT requires that you have a standby engineering firm to be able to do projects for your local airport if necessary. And so we had to rebid it again. It came up for rebid. This year, we have to rebid in 2 separate sectors. One's for planning and engineering, and the other is for construction. So we did that, sent those proposals out. We had 3 proposers that came in. These have to be certified engineers that are on GDOT's register for doing airport aviation services. So not every engineering firm would be able to comply with those provisions. You have to be on their list. So we did see those. Those are on the sheet that's attached. Goodwin, Mills, Cahood, Holt, and Kimley Horn. In the area of planning and environmental, Holt received the highest score on that. I need to mention too, it's not a dollar contract because we don't have them engaged at this point to do anything. You just simply have to have them on standby. But they received the high score, both for planning and environmental and design and construction. We took this to the Joint Management Board Technical Committee, which is the chairman and the mayor and the LCDA chairman, who's also the same person. But technical staff reviewed them, took them to them. They approved or recommended for approval to you that we continue with Holt. Holt is our current firm that's working on the projects that we got going on right now. But again, this is future projects under your CIP for your standby services. Well, it's, Eddie, if you remember, it's, you have a joint management board local, and you have one the big board. The big board is made up of the representatives from Development Authority, city and county. And then the big board adds in there the garrison commander, the DPW director, and the director of airport aviation for Hunter and Fort Stewart. I'm an advisory member to them. Kenny and Carmen and I, yes, sir. And we're the ones that actually reviewed these and made a recommendation to them. Very satisfied with them.
Chair,
Chairman, you entertain a motion?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we go ahead and contract with
Holt. Okay. Yes, sir. Second?
Second.
Second, we contract with Holt for standby engineering services for Midcoast Airport. And let me just go ahead and interject this at some point. I'm trying to recall when we had an airport update. It hadn't been too long, but maybe time in the first of the year to give another one, so.
Be glad to.
All in favor, show of hands, please. All right.
And to piggyback on that, we hear about this, once a year. We don't know what the flights in and out are. We don't know where they're expanding, how many, I know we were building some hangars, but we really not, I ain't never heard if we're through with them or not. Can we get up?
Oh, absolutely.
You ain't got to give it to everybody that don't want one, but just.
No, absolutely.
I'd like to know, I have some folks that do fly.
Any announcements, sir?
I do, just a few quick ones, please, just to update you on some projects you talked about. Fire station facility, Keith mentioned what we're working with there. It has a projected closing date now of December, provided we can get those site conditions met, and I think we will. Design is ongoing, preliminary for the health department. They're gonna come before you in your November meeting to show you all that and to see what y'all think about that. The road maintenance facility construction, they've already poured the pads for the buildings, not poured the pads. They've actually put the fill material down for the pads, and I met with EMC down there this week, Coastal EMC. to talk about the outdoor lighting. So we're trying to finalize all that. They've already tied some water in to Midway system, which has been good, and they're gonna be doing some other work on that too. So that, they're moving very, very quickly on that project. Sam Harris Gym renovation, past fire marshal inspection. We're gonna be coming back to you probably after this week to talk about maybe a late November ribbon cutting. We've got the ad out now to hire the person for that facility to get it open, so maybe the week before Thanksgiving, hopefully there. Mid-Coast lease expansion, we've talked about that before, but the environmental folks are finalizing that to expand that lease footprint at the airport and are submitting that to the military. So that's on go. And then the EMS administrative building, I think I mentioned that it cleared the variance request from the city of Hinesville for setbacks, and that's under design right now by Rusty McCall. So, but anticipate having something to show you all on that probably in the next 60 days. Maybe get that project out before year end. The other thing is you've got a 2024 calendar in front of you that I think Maria included in your packet. Just gives you the updates on days the county will be closed and everything. And so if there's anything that you see that's out of whack there, we've kind of reviewed it all, but we'd propose that be your 2024 calendar. Subject to any added meetings that y'all may have or want to have. This is your regular stuff. And that's it.
Well, please keep me, I know we usually meet down now together, but still, I need some time frame to roughly to let the Harris family know about the ribbon cutting.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll come back to all of you.
Oh, we're fixing to go home.
We're done.
It's all like that.
Mr. Stevens and Mr. Gillard and myself, we rode up the elevator with our new
Robin,
reporter, I guess.
Miss Robin, yeah.
Yeah. I figured Mr. Donahue might introduce her to us.
No,
They
totally.
work it.
Make any difference, it's news.
She's been here before.
Yeah, she's been
He's
here
been in our
before.
meetings
here
a couple of
before.
times. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome.
That's it, sir? All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
Yes, sir.
Chair, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.